The following presentation is brought to you by the Umbrella Corporation, where our business is life itself. Created by Capcom in 1996, the Resident Evil franchise is estimated to be worth $2.6 billion. Between its massive video games, movies, and more, this franchise is actually worth more than other ones such as Planet of the Apes and Indiana Jones. But just how did this series begin? Let's start by taking a look at the very first Resident Evil game. The first game of the series actually has a player trapped in a mansion fighting off the likes of zombies, zombie dogs, giant monster zombies, and even zombie sharks? I guess they can turn anything to a zombie. Playing as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, this game set the stage for the future of the franchise. With characters, villains, gameplay mechanics, and more, all these were introduced in the very first game that would become staples for the future of the franchise. This game actually grossed $299 million and is cited by many as a starting point for the massive zombie industry that we have today. In fact, the zombie genre is estimated to be worth over $5.5 billion today. If you want a breakdown of the entire zombie genre, be sure to smash that subscribe button for more content. Game after game, the popularity of this series continues to grow with every release. Resident Evil 2 introduced us to a new set of characters and more puzzles based all around the same survival horror that the first game was known for. Spending about $5 million on advertising, Capcom definitely pushed this game hard and it paid off big time. Starting out with $19 million in its opening weekend, this game eventually went on to gross over $436 million. This is actually Capcom's 9th best-selling game of all time, sitting just behind Street Fighter V. Capcom knew that they had a true gem on their hands, so they did what any game company would do and built this game into a massive franchise. Following Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, they were going to make Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Resident Evil Survivor, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil Survivor 2 Code Veronica, Resident Evil Gaiden, Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Dead Aim, Resident Evil Outbreak, Resident Evil Outbreak File Number 2, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles, Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D, Resident Evil Revelations, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Umbrella Corps, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Resident Evil Resistance, Resident Evil Village. Or 27 games in total. Now, according to Capcom's official website, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is the best-selling game in the franchise, with an impressive 8.5 million units sold. Now, remember how we said that Resident Evil 2 was Capcom's 9th best-selling game? Well, Resident Evil 7 is his 2nd best-selling game. Resident Evil actually takes up 4 of the top 5 spots for Capcom, with numbers 6, 5, 2, and 7 dominating the list. The best-selling game of all for Capcom is actually going to be Monster Hunter World, with 16.8 million copies sold, or about $1 billion grossed for the company. With the new Resident Evil Village being set to release in just a couple of days, do you think that will be able to break the top 5? Let us know with a comment down below. Now, the Resident Evil franchise spans more than just the games. They've also got novels, comic books, toys, models, airsoft guns, an energy drink, and a restaurant. Yes, you heard that right, folks. They actually had a Resident Evil themed restaurant. The key word is had. Unfortunately, they had to close it a few years back. But if we ever win the lottery over here at the Financial Fixation, that thing's coming back to life. Resident Evil has yet another huge part of their franchise that we have not even talked about yet. So be sure to grab your popcorn because we're going to the movies. Released in 2002, we have the cleverly named Resident Evil. This film stars Mila Jovovich as Alice as she fights off the hordes of zombies hidden in a secret facility. With a budget of $33 million, this movie went on to make over $103 million worldwide. Now, being a fairly successful film, they said, why not make more? 6 films later, the series brought in over $1.2 billion. This makes Resident Evil film franchise the highest grossing films based off of a video game. The highest grossing Resident Evil film? Well, that's of course Resident Evil The Final Chapter, which takes the crown, carrying $314 million. Now, considering it only had a $40 million budget, they definitely did well on this one. Money-wise, every film in the franchise tripled their budgets or more. And while the critics didn't seem to enjoy the films, the fans sure did. Resident Evil Village is the newest game set for release. This one definitely looks good, so we're gonna have to see how well it actually performed. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness is an upcoming CGI series meant for Netflix. Not only that, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is yet another upcoming movie, and is planned to feature fan favorite characters like Chris, Jill, and Leon. Set for release in November of 2021, only time can tell how this film really performs. With huge games and massive movies, there is no denying the popularity of this franchise. Which is your favorite Resident Evil game? Do you like the older games, or are you a fan of some of the more new ones? Let us know with a comment. Also, while you're down there, if you like content like this, be sure to press that like button to give us a thumbs up. Once again, I'm Dominic, your friendly Umbrella representative. Please be sure to subscribe and... What's that? Well, if you excuse me, it would appear that I have to go and help clean up a mess.